Thanks to the support as a channel member, Dan Miles. No, I get that you're trying to be financially responsible, but the thing that I'm really trying to make clear to you is there's no point insisting that that money stays in the scouting budget when we're maxed out on the wage budget and the transfer budget. So even if the scouts find someone really good, we can't sign them. No, I know it would be good. Yeah, I realise scouting players is important, but yeah, it would just be so much simpler if I could move some of it into the wage budget. Then I could maybe sign some of the players we'd already scouted. That'd be a novelty. Hello and welcome to part 12 of Holiday Home. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our first two games of season 3. We're away against Torrent and at home against Zenita. I think Zenita are one of the newly relegated teams. They don't seem familiar. They're not. So we've played them before and I just don't remember them. If you missed the transfer special yesterday, the main headline news is that we are completely maxed out on money, as you can see, and we don't really have a full squad of first team players. We're close. Alex Boxall, though, is 16, and I would feel much more comfortable if he was the backup to that position. As it is, he is pretty much our main man at defensive midfield, and unless something changes, that's not likely to be any different as the season goes on, because we're overdrawn on our overall balance. We're in a negative transfer budget, which I'm still impressed we've managed to achieve a negative transfer budget. I've never done that before, and we are slightly over on our wage budget as well. Meanwhile, as mentioned in the intro, Mrs. Wearmouth is just having a lovely old time spending all this money on scouting. It would be really nice to be able to put into our other budgets, but because of the mess we made last season financially, she's basically confiscated the purse strings. She's making the decisions, and I don't care for them, but none of that matters if we start the season well. We do need a promotion this year. This is our third season at this level. We are one of the favourites to get promoted. We've got the best player in the league in Fakal. We've got the best striker in the league in Pierce. What we might lack in midfielders and defenders, we should make up for in scoring an absolute ton of goals. And hopefully that will be enough to see us get promoted, which, I mean, we definitely need that promotion from a financial point of view, if for nothing else. So this is the team for the first day of the season away against Torrent. We've got Florek in goal, a back four of New Boy Vega alongside Christian David, New Boy Roman and Iago Lopez, who signed right at the tail end of last season. The aforementioned Alex Boxall is going to sit at the base of the midfield. We're not going to task a 16-year-old with being our playmaker and our creative force. So he's just going to be a bog standard defensive midfielder. And the other guy who signed right at the end of last season, Elizondo, who we actually signed to be an attacking midfielder, but he's going to have to play as the deep line playmaker because he is partnering another one of the new boys, Isra, who is an attacking midfielder who we're making play in central midfield. And then our front three, quite familiar. Fakal and Pierce, of course, have been here since the start. And Rabiu is the guy who came through the youth system and then went to the Olympics and is making his debut today. So hopefully he's as good as the Nigerian under-23 manager thinks he is. So, I mean, if Rabiu's good and if Boxall can have a breakout season, I think we're looking quite good. If either of those things turn out not to be true, then we might have a little bit of a problem. I mean, we do have a backup left winger. We signed a left winger this summer before we realised we had a really good one just knocking about the place. So we do have a backup for that position in the shape of Martinez Perez. We don't have an alternate option for that holding midfielder, though. If Boxall doesn't work out, our only option is going to be to change the system. And whenever we've tried to use a system that doesn't involve a defensive midfielder previously, it hasn't really worked. We've got a nice little counter-attack going here, though. I mean, we've slowed it down massively, which is weird, because we actually had 3-on-2 there for a moment. But Boxall plays it through to Pierce. If he stayed onside there, Alex Boxall has an assist on the first day of the season, and all is going to be right in the world. I think it has been given. It's actually quite good football. Isra's drifted out wide. It comes back to Iago Lopez, who gives it to Fakal, who just squares it to Boxall without even looking. That's a no-look pass, boys and girls. He just plays it through into Pierce, who is never going to miss from there. Why they're not marking him properly, I do not know, but I'm certainly not here to give the Torrent manager defending against the best striker in the league tips. He's not going to get him from me, although, you know, I would suggest not letting Pearce be unmarked in the penalty area would be a good way forward. But good to see Boxall has had at least a lively start going forward. Obviously, we don't know how good he's going to be at protecting the back four, but I think just the fact there's a body there, as far as the match engine goes, is sometimes enough. He doesn't necessarily have to be a very good defender. He just needs to be there playing that role. Oh, what a pass from Isra. Oh, my word. This midfield is doing special things. We've talked about how the midfield is basically non-existent. Doesn't matter. I mean, previously, the last 2 years, the only way we score is from crosses coming in from the flanks. We've had 2 goals that have been from through balls straight down the throat of the Torrent defenders. First from Boxall, now from Isra. We've got a new facet to our attacking play, and I'm loving it. We look like a real football team. We're playing Spanish. 2-0, potentially, up at halftime. I mean, they might score here. Either way, we're going to be in the lead at halftime. That's the input. Okay, it's 2-1 at halftime. That's some sloppy defending, and that is something that is likely to be a problem because I think we probably are weaker personnel-wise in the defence than we were last year. We've not got Sutcliffe back on loan. Christian David is still only 5'9", and goodness me, did he show it there. He is always going to be beaten in the air, and without a big dominant guy alongside him, it's going to become more and more of a problem. I mean, I would suggest if we could find another big defender, Christian David is the defensive midfielder. If we're just putting someone there to defend, probably wouldn't be the worst idea. Ignacio Pearce has a first day of the season hat-trick. I think that's another assist for Boxall as well. That's wonderful from Pearce. He is going to score a lot of goals this year. So Pearce nodded it down to Boxall, who actually played it across to Elizondo. So it's him who hits the ball forward. But once again, 3 goals for Pearce. All 3 of them come from those balls from central midfield. Fakal, last year, when Fakal didn't play well or when he didn't play at all, we couldn't do anything. We were next to useless. This year, maybe we don't need to rely on him as much. Maybe we're not a one-man team anymore. Fakal, trying to prove we do still need his passing, plays it across to Isra, who has the shot, and it's now gone behind for another corner. We are all over Torrent here. I don't really know how good Torrent are. We try not to read too much into the first game of the season, but we're certainly starting things off pretty well. And Christian David has just won a header, but then didn't head it in anywhere close to the right direction. Fakal nods it back across. Someone needs to get control of it. Roman does in the end, and the highlight just kind of peters out. But an hour in, we have started this match and this season very nicely. Rabiot looked like he was held down there, but the referee doesn't have any of it, and now it's Torrent with the chance for a counter-attack of their own. We know we're a little bit tender defensively, and they're coming at us here. Ball over the top. Roman heads it clear, and Elizondo couldn't get it under control, and now Lopez has been dragged out of position. Isra, though, I was just about to sing his praises for coming back and covering, but yeah, he's not a defensive midfielder, is he? Clatters into their player, gives away the penalty in a position where he definitely didn't need to give away a penalty. But thankfully, the penalty is straight at Florek, who just has to catch it. I mean, he's not even had to get his shorts dirty there. That's lovely stuff. Florek, remember, is unhappy because of the lack of defenders that we've got at the club. He can see the problem that he's got in front of him and has got a grumpy on about it. But at the moment, today, not been too much of a problem. The other option we've got is Antonio Leal. He's going to come on and make his debut. 6'2", but not very good. That might be enough based on how we struggle in the air. 6'2" and not very good might be all that we need as an option there at centre back. And we're also going to bring on the other new left winger, which is Ernesto Martinez Perez, only 17 years old, actually younger than the guy who he's come on for, who has come through our youth system. I don't know why this screen keeps shaking up the order of things. And I think at 3-1 up and Pearce having done his job today, it's a sensible time to give a debut to Dario Marcos, who's our loanee striker for the season. Get him on, see what he can conjure up with 20 minutes still to go. If we can have a decent backup to Ignacio Pearce this season, then we're going to go a long way, and that would be very, very pleasant. But it is Torrent who've got the ball at the moment. I mean, not in any particularly threatening area. Perez tries to win it back off of them, but gives it away, but then does actually come back and makes the covering tackle. Good work from Martinez Perez, although the ball forward ends up going straight back to Torrent again. Marcos doing a very good impression of a headless chicken running around at the top there. He's going to take a while to win me over because I didn't really want to sign him. He's one that the director of football forced on me before I realised he was in charge of all transfers, and I wanted the other guy. We were in for 2 loanee strikers. Marcos completed first. I wanted the other one. Take it out of my hands, though. Fakal plays it across, though, and there is Marcos. He's hit the post, but Isra's there for the follow-up. I suspect that one's getting disallowed for offside, although maybe it's not. So Isra with a debut goal, and, I mean, it was chaos in the penalty area. Fakal finally involved in an attack today, plays it across the penalty area. We've seen that a million times before. Isra actually looked like he left it for Marcos, and then it started bouncing around like a pinball before it ended up back with Isra, who, at the second time of asking, does what he should have done when the cross first came in and just poked it into the back of the net. 4-1 now, and this feels like a time to take off Alex Boxall, although we don't have the young guy Al Star, who is our 15-year-old defensive midfielder. He's not on the bench. What we're going to have to do is just play somebody out of position there, and players are going to have to get used to covering in that role. I'm actually thinking Samu Martin, maybe, who can play anywhere up the right-hand side, and on that basis should be able to play there. There's my logic, and I'm sticking with it. And then we'll also take off for our final change. I guess we rest up one of the midfielders. Elizondo can come off. Ortola, who is a winger, naturally, but has been training for the last 6 months or so to become a central midfielder, continue his development into becoming a central midfielder, because we've got so many left wingers. The only way he's ever getting in the team regularly is if he learns to play in this central midfield role. And Isra now, who has had a very good debut, although didn't really show it there, but he's looked very, very good. We did kind of push the boat out to bring him in. He was the last signing and finished off the transfer budget when probably we should have been a little more sensible and maybe spread his salary across a couple of players. We just wanted him because he looked so good. Martinez Perez with the cross, looking for Marcos, who can't apply the finish. It remains 4-1. That was a big chance for Marcos, who didn't look very sharp there, did he? But I guess when you're 4-1 up, it doesn't matter that much. Might take him a little bit of time to get up to speed, but we'll give him the opportunity to. Frankly, he's the only other striker option we've got, apart from Pearce, so he has to get up to speed relatively quickly. But we are, after the first day of the season is complete, top of the league. More of that, please, gentlemen. We don't want to be hanging around in this league too much longer. Let's get ourselves pushing forward and quick. So no changes to the team for the second game of the season against Zenita, who actually were briefly top of the league themselves during that, but I guess ended up drawing. That's fine. We're going to beat them anyway. The one change I have made is remembering to put Al Star up onto the bench, because what we can't do is break Alex Boxall by just playing him for 90 minutes every match as a 16-year-old. So we need options to come on for him. Jesus is up on the bench as well as a central midfield player. So we've got a couple of options to, in fact, they both are getting squad numbers, because when we did the squad numbers, we hoped we wouldn't have to use them, so they didn't need squad numbers. But here we are, second game of the season. They're already up onto the bench. We don't have a backup goalkeeper on the bench today, which is very unlike me. I don't know that I can promise to consistently pick my own bench in this remarkably cavalier fashion, but, you know, maybe I'm a changed man. Who knows? We've got a corner here. It's Lopez looking for that far post, and there's Fernando Roman to score. I mean, he is the big boy at the back. We said we needed a big boy at the back alongside Christian David. All he can really do is head. He's painfully slow, but he is quite good in the air, and there's an example of it. So we just need to somehow convince the opposition players to aim their crosses towards the side that he's on, so David doesn't get exposed. I mean, I guess the way to tell the players to do that is to make Roman a stopper and David cover. Is that the thing? Will that actually do what I want? I want Roman to be throwing himself in the path of all crosses. Almost every team we play against only plays with one striker. So I want Roman to take care of that striker and David to be there to cover those runs out of midfield. Look how composed Alex Boxall is, by the way. He's only 16. I love the way he plays in this role. He just seems completely in control. constant little one-touch passes, always in control. He's going to be a superstar for us. And there is the goal that we came to know and love from last season. Falcao slides it in for Pearce. That's Ignacio Pearce's 4th goal of the season already. But once again, huge credit to Boxall and Isra, who are already looking very good. We might not have a lot of numbers in this midfield, but this starting 3, I think they're good enough. I mean, we haven't necessarily played anybody any good yet, but we won't worry about that for now. We've got another corner. We're looking for Roman again, and Fernando Roman has his 2nd goal of the game. Have we finally got ourselves a proper set-piece threat? We didn't have anyone score this consistently from corners ever previously. I mean, I know it's only the 2nd game of the season, but at the moment we've got a goal-a-game centre-back. Doesn't matter that he can't defend. If he keeps doing that, we're going to have a lovely old time. And Iago Lopez gets 2 assists from his 2 corners as well, which is lovely for padding his stats. 3-0 up at half-time. And I tell you what, boys and girls, we are looking good for this season. It's difficult to know. I mean, remember, though, previously, for the last year and a half, we've been much better than the bottom half of teams in this league. And the way we fell down last year was when we played against the other teams in the top 6. We rarely did anything other than lose against them. So that's going to be our big test. The first time we play against one of those teams that ends up being in that mix at the top of the league come the end of the season. Then we're going to have a really good idea of where we're likely to stand when all is said and done. Right, we're going to get Al Star on for his debut. And that actually gives the opportunity to shuffle the midfield around into long term. I think this is the preferred shape for the midfield. We have Star as the playmaker. Boxall moves forward into what I think will be his best position as box to box, and Elizondo playing a little bit further forward, although obviously Isra has looked fantastic there so far, but so did Elizondo at the end of last season. He's been playing a little bit out of position for us so far, so when we get the opportunity, we are going to try and release him to play a little bit further forward as well, because we don't want him to get sad. Once again, we'll get Marcos on to give him some time, and Samu Martin can actually play in his preferred position as right back for the final 10 minutes or so of this game. What a lovely start to the season we've had. If you want to see how the next few matches go before tomorrow, I am going to be back on Twitch tonight from 7ish. So just come along there. You'll be able to watch all the in-betweeny bits for before tomorrow's episode. If you can't catch the Twitch stream live, those in-betweeny bits will be on my 2nd channel, lollujo 2, at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then, of course, the next big set of matches, when we finally play some of those good teams, that'll be tomorrow's YouTube video here on the main channel at 4 o'clock. So lots more content in the Holme universe to come over the next 24 hours or so. But I tell you what, that start to the season could not have gone much better than it just has. We are top of the league. This is our year, boys and girls. I can feel it. It's going to be amazing. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.